I'm going to get so much hate for this video. So, my prediction was correct. I have over 500 comments now, and a lot of them are hate comments. And it was honestly very overwhelming. I had to stop reading them after the first few days because it was just getting to my head. I had to do other things. And so, yeah. So why I'm making this video is because I can't respond to over 500 comments individually. So I decided, let me just make a response to the hate comments. And I have a new perspective on hate comments now. When I scroll through Instagram and I see hate comments, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I wonder what this content creator feels like on the other side. Just a lot of it was really unnecessary, but I did see some of your questions and I'm going to answer them. But first of all, thank you so much for everyone who was supportive, who was neutral, or who didn't agree with me but was still nice anyway. I can't tell you how nice it was to see a kind comment in the midst of all the nasty ones. But anyway, I hear you guys. There are a lot of people that are supportive of the carnivore diet, but let me clarify a few things because obviously need some clarification. So the biggest thing that I'm not sure everyone heard super clearly in my last video, by the way, if you haven't seen my Stop the Carnivore Diet video, I'll put it right here, I think, or right here, I don't know, I can't remember, but I'll put it here. It's just my last video that I made, but there you go if you haven't seen it. So the biggest thing I want to drive home with you guys is that I'm talking long term, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, a lifetime. And some of you guys have been on that diet for that long apparently, and so you've never felt better, you've lost all this weight, your numbers are looking great, your doctor's happy with it, your dietitian's supportive, whatever it may be. I'm not talking to you. That's great. Keep going. I'm so glad you found something that works for you. But respectfully, your experience does not mean this diet carries no risks for any other individual. And that's the thing. Your genetics, your health history, your diet way before you started the carnivore diet, and a slew of other things determine how you do on the carnivore diet. And that's why I really intended my last video to be to the general public, to big overall broad umbrella risks that this diet may carry. I'm not talking about individual cases because I don't know you, I don't know your health history, I don't know anything about you. So working with someone one-on-one is way different from speaking to the general public. And so the literature shows that the foundation of the carnivore diet does carry risks. So in that last video, I was speaking to those who need more information, maybe on the other side, on the unsupportive side of the carnivore diet, before they make a decision on which way to take their new diet and lifestyle. Because everybody needs to hear information on both sides, on the supportive side and on the critical side, and I am the critical side of the carnivore diet. And yes, I got some comments on how I need to change my vocabulary. Instead of stop the carnivore diet, maybe I should have said, here's something to think about, the risks that the carnivore diet potentially carries. Well, I didn't title my video like that, nor did I talk like that in my video, because this is the internet. I wanted to get people's attention, to pique interest, and to really reach people who want to know, why am I saying stop the carnivore diet? Instead of like, here's some things to think about the carnivore diet. Nobody's gonna watch that. Well, maybe some people would, but I really wanted to reach a lot of people, and I'm excited. Still wasn't expecting the level of hate I got, but still nonetheless, I'm excited. So that's why I titled it like that. I'm sorry if it was a bit too clickbaity, a bit, I don't know. It wasn't clickbait because I don't support the carnivore diet, but at the same time, I'm more so warning of potential risks rather than saying, if you have felt great for 35 plus years on the carnivore diet, you need to stop. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm not talking to you. You don't want unsolicited nutrition advice. You are happy. Keep following on your path of happiness and health. But again, that doesn't mean that this diet doesn't carry risks for other individuals. Like I said in my last video, nutrition is individualized. I'm sorry if I offended your revelation of the carnivore diet being like the best thing that's ever happened to you, but I can't just let that slide without letting other people know who have not felt good on the carnivore diet, or who are like, why is it not working for me? Or who may have some conditions they need to consider with their doctor before they start the carnivore diet, and see what risks go along with that. You see what I'm saying? Because the carnivore community seems to promote that the carnivore diet is for everyone, which is not true. It's not true, especially not for children. I'm not even gonna get into that. Hey guys, so it's tomorrow, and I realized I forgot to respond to one comment yesterday. So here I am responding to another hate comment. I got a comment, maybe more than one now, that said, oh look, she's been institutionalized, or something like that. And I got a comment very similar to this on my last carnivore video that I made several months ago, which I ended up deleting. I ended up deleting that video because it was right after a long hiatus of me not posting on YouTube, and I didn't say everything that I wanted to say, and I didn't say them in the right way, so I was like, oh, and I also got scared from that hate comment that I got. So yeah, that comment about how I've been institutionalized is basically saying that my formal nutrition education in a university means nothing, meaning they teach the wrong concepts, they don't teach you right, you are programmed to think a certain way. But with that logic, carnivore advocates shouldn't use physicians who support the carnivore diet as part of their reason to promote this diet. I'm saying if you place physicians on a pedestal for their knowledge in human physiology, then you can't discredit nutrition professionals in their knowledge in nutrition. I'm saying you either value formal education or you don't. And I'm not sure why some people think formal nutrition education in universities is not credible when we have the same access to sources and same access to textbooks with the addition of classes and practitioners and professors that we can go to for more knowledge in that specific field. And I also don't know why people discredit going to school for nutrition when physicians also go to school to learn about healthcare, but they get credit for knowing nutrition knowledge. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't add up. And maybe it's because they go through a lot more training in healthcare, but they're not involved in nutrition specifically. They may know a lot about nutrition because you got to know a lot about physiology, and the big part of physiology is nutrition. But unless they're a dietitian as well as a physician, they're not specifically trained in nutrition. We wouldn't have clinical dietitians in hospitals and clinics if that were the case, if physicians could do everything. It's like how lawyers aren't nurses and police officers aren't teachers. You know what I'm saying? It's a separation of duties. And so that's just what came to mind when people are like, oh, she's been institutionalized. Oh, they're programming her to think a certain way in formal nutrition education. Well, if you think that, then you shouldn't believe any physician who gives you nutrition advice either, because they have formal education and a lot of it. So yeah. That's what I gotta say. And that's why even in medical practices, people specialize, because it's so hard and almost impossible to know everything all at once. So that's why we have cardiothoracic surgeons and OBGYNs, and you know what I'm saying? Also, if you go online and look up physicians and nutrition knowledge, you will find that a lot of physicians are not confident in their nutrition knowledge, and there are lots of studies and lots of institutions that are saying doctors need more nutrition education if they're going to give out nutrition advice. So I'm not just pulling this out of thin air either. It's a thing that we've been talking about for a while, how doctors need more nutrition training. Anyway, in response to all that about how I've been institutionalized, and if you think dietitians have been institutionalized, then either believe all the professionals or believe none of the professionals. Okay, now you're returning to yesterday. Bye. So I'm talking about all these potential side effects and potential risks of the carnivore diet, and they have been shown in the nutrition literature, which I have spent the last few days accumulating. And so if you check the description box, you can see I filled the whole 5,000 characters with nutrition literature on points that I made in my last video. Because a lot of you guys were asking, where are you getting this information from? I want to see the sources. I want to see what you're talking about, which is so valid, and I totally get that. So I looked up a lot of research. These are all open access, no paywall. And so that being said, I've just scratched the surface of all the nutrition literature in the world, and I fit as much as I could in the description box, but this is some really good stuff that I found, you guys. I found stuff on saturated fat, dietary fiber, the human evolution and diet, how there is evidence that shows we did eat a lot of plants throughout human evolution, ketogenic diets, and I found things on meat-based diets and the carnivore diet. And in the description box, I put a short summary of what the study kind of says in case you just don't want to go into each link and look at the totality of the study. I have a few meta-analyses, systemic reviews, which are really nice because they summarize a whole lot of studies about one topic into one paper. I have some primary research and some overviews of certain topics, but these are all from scholarly journals, you guys. I'm not pulling it out of thin air. This is what the bulk of the nutrition literature says. But listen, you guys, I've gotten these from the past 3 or 4 years, and I'm almost not even going to count 2024 because there's not much published in 2024 yet, but all the studies in the description are from 2021 and up. I have a few 2020. Honestly, I'm saying all this, but I haven't even written the description box yet. I just have a document of all the studies that I found, and we'll see how many I can fit in the description box. But anyway, maybe I'll make a YouTube post about the other ones that I can't fit or something. But anyway, what's really interesting though is, yes, I did see some things that are pointing favorably to the carnivore diet, but this is really new research, and the bulk of the past nutrition research shows that there are certain risks associated with the carnivore diet and certain benefits, of course. And so there are some things on how maybe saturated fat isn't as bad as we once thought. There are, but at the same time, there are also studies that show when you replace saturated fat with polyunsaturated fats, then your cardiovascular health is way better. You have a lower risk of cancer, a lower risk of all causes of death. I think that's one of the studies that I put in here. Also, when I looked up fiber in humans, there was not a single study I found that didn't show the many benefits of fiber. All types of dietary fiber have human health benefits. Also, I saw a couple comments, maybe one or two, I don't know if there's more, that were talking about how plants have been shown to be toxic, how fiber's been shown to be toxic. The only thing I found on the toxicity of vegetables is the presence of heavy metals. But evidence also shows that heavy metals are present in meat and dairy products. The one thing that is really surprising and is a good example of why we need to keep up with the nutrition literature as time goes on, and something that I didn't really know was this beneficial, is that a short-term ketogenic diets are amazing for weight loss, of course, reducing blood sugar, and liver health. Lots of recent research on the effects of ketogenic diets on liver health and the benefits of it. And that's awesome. I know a lot of people have been super successful on ketogenic diets and they love it. But at the same time, I also found literature on how long-term ketogenic diets hold risks, particularly renal dysfunction and metabolic acidosis, aka the buildup of ketones in the blood. And then again, a lot of the research is saying we don't know the long-term risks and complications of some of these things, or we do know that there are risks and complications of some of these things that are foundational to the carnivore diet. So what I'm saying is, in trying to summarize in all the literature that I found, is that number one, we don't know exactly how long-term carnivore diets affect everyone, but we do know at the foundation carnivore diets hold risks long-term, potentially. And so that's what I'm trying to tell you guys, and what I was trying to tell you guys in the last video is all that. So yeah, check out the sources if you're interested. So the big takeaway from this video is that if it works for you, okay, but it's not probably working for everyone, and it shouldn't be promoted to everyone that it's like the diet to do now. So yeah, maybe I shouldn't have been so extreme in my last Stop the Carnivore Diet video if it is helping people long term, but nutrition is individualized, and long term the carnivore diet shows some risks. And so yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you guys. Thanks for watching, see you later.